What if the first company didn't just trade goods, but quietly re-engineered the world itself? In the flicker of candlelight, deep within a narrow London street, where the air smelled of ink, oil, and rain-soaked oak, a group of merchants gathered. They had a dream far larger than their ledgers revealed. They were men of figures and forecasts, whispering with ambition, signing their names to a parchment that would outlast their lifetimes. They called it a company, a word simple enough, harmless enough. But in truth, it was an idea that would outgrow kings. From a single charter, it would evolve into something invisible yet omnipresent. A machine of trade so vast that it rewired the planet's heartbeat. At first, its goals were humble: ships of timber and sail, venturing eastward to barter silk for silver, spice for coin. But within those voyages lay the code for an entirely new world. The company learned that power could travel not through crowns or armies, but through contracts. Each voyage returned not only goods, but equations, ratios of profit, formulas of exchange, and soon, the city around it began to speak its language. London's docks glimmered like veins of copper in the night, pumping wealth instead of blood. Accountants became navigators, merchants became monarchs of arithmetic, and a quiet revolution unfolded on paper long before it was visible at sea. Every crate unloaded carried more than pepper or porcelain. It carried precedent. It carried the notion that distance could be monetized, that trust could be converted into currency, that reality itself could be tallied. In the echo of tally bells and counting house chatter, humanity's oldest instinct, the desire to possess, was dressed in the new clothes of precision. The company thrived because it mastered imagination. It sold the promise of a return before ships had even left the harbour. Investors bought fragments of horizons they would never see, yet they believed. And belief, the company discovered, was the most valuable cargo of all. Coffee houses filled with speculation. Maps were redrawn not by explorers, but by speculators hunched over candles. And for the first time in history, hope had a market price. As shares changed hands faster than ships change ports, the company ceased to be a business and became a belief system. It whispered to an age hungry for progress that risk was not danger, but destiny. In its offices on Leadenhall Street, rows of clerks bent over ledgers that resembled holy texts, transcribing the gospel of growth. Numbers flowed like scripture, absolute and unquestioned. Somewhere between those pages, the modern world took its first breath. The company built its empire on abstractions. Insurance to soften uncertainty. Credit to stretch tomorrow into today. Interest to keep the wheel turning, even when the wind failed. It understood that the greatest resource was not spice or silver, but time itself. And whoever could command time could command everything. As decades passed, its handwriting spread across continents. Ports became appendices, currencies harmonized, and whole societies adjusted to its rhythm. The company's reach was gentle yet unrelenting, an invisible gravity drawing all commerce into its orbit. To be outside, it was to be irrelevant. Within its walls, the hierarchy mimicked clockwork. Directors governed from mahogany desks. Secretaries whispered decisions that rippled across oceans. And every ink-stained ledger clerk became a cog in the grand design. The genius of the company was its invisibility. It learned to rule without appearing to rule, to profit without proclaiming conquest. Its greatest conquest was not territory, but trust. Merchants bowed to its credit. Governments borrowed its stability. And soon, economies everywhere began to move in step with its ledgers. It was as if the planet itself had been quietly audited. Yet beneath the polished wood and polished rhetoric, a shadow deepened. It was the truth that the pursuit of endless gain erodes the very meaning of value. As profits soared, empathy flattened. People became entries on a page. Places became percentages. But the company did not see cruelty, only efficiency. Its mission was perpetual motion, and motion demanded fuel. It built ships faster, routes longer, records thicker. In chasing perfection, it unknowingly engineered fragility, because when one mechanism controls too much, a single error echoes through everything. Crises arrived like tides, bubbles bursting, fortunes sinking, rescues arranged by the very institutions that feared losing their lifeline. The company endured, yet each survival changed it. Regulation became ritual. Oversight became theatre. The company had transcended failure. It was, in effect, immortal. And that immortality carried a question heavier than gold. What happens when a creation forgets its creator? As the centuries turned, the candlelight of commerce evolved into the electric glow of modernity. But the pattern remained. Every skyscraper's lobby mirrored that first counting house. Every balance sheet whispered the same mathematics of ambition. Digital networks now do what ships once did, carry dreams for profit across invisible seas. And though the company's name has faded into textbooks, its architecture surrounds us. Corporations that outsize nations, markets that move faster than morality, algorithms that price the very pulse of human need. The world hums with its afterlife. Somewhere, right now, an investor checks a chart, unaware that the symbols beneath their fingertips were born in that London room long ago. Somewhere, a CEO signs a quarterly report that still echoes the optimism and blindness of those first merchants. The company that changed the world never truly ended. It just evolved beyond recognition. Its empire no longer needs borders. Its governors no longer need crowns, and its ships now sail through data instead of water. Yet the lesson remains, unwritten but felt, that prosperity without purpose becomes its own prison. Even an elder historian, walking through those same cobbled streets today, feels its presence. It's in the architecture, in the hum of commerce, in the silent obedience of systems built to outlive their makers. He pauses beneath a grey sky, fingertips brushing a brick blackened by centuries, and wonders if the blueprint of the modern age was brilliance or betrayal. The rain begins again, steady, rhythmic, like the ticking of that first clock the company wound. It is the sound of progress and of warning. For every age believes its creations are immortal, until history audits the books. So tell me, if the company once mastered trade to reshape the world, who, in our time, is quietly reshaping it again? If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden architects of our world, consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon. We have many more stories like this to share. Thank you for watching.